I am a time traveler, and I am going 3 hours into the future to watch some movies right quick. Yep, that's me. On the time, bird. I wonder what kind of movies await me in the future. Oh, this is exciting. Ooh, I can't wait to clap to the Varda advertisements. It's gonna be so cool. Wait. Hold on, where is the sun right now? This isn't right. Something's wrong. Something's really wrong. Where is everybody? What's going on? Is everything closed? What's going on? What is this? Some sort of ghost town? Where is everybody? I don't understand what's going on. Guys, I'm freaking out. Guys? Oh, man, that was a crazy dream that I had. Oh boy. Anyway, I am in Toronto for the 50th Annual International Film Festival, and I'm gonna watch some movies. Room tour. Okay. Alright, the first film of the festival for me is A Private Life, directed by Rebecca Zlotowski. I love that this movie was basically about Jodie Foster kind of being bad at her job. It's about a psychoanalyst who becomes obsessed with one of her patients by conspiracy following their abrupt suicide. Things spiral from there after she reluctantly visits a hypnotist and tries to decipher her subconscious hallucinations. I thought it was cute and quite funny, definitely not to be taken as seriously as perhaps the premise would imply. I thought the realization of the hypnotism was beautifully calming as well as surreal. It was a fun little mystery to watch our main character spiral into, and I think the ending worked as a sort of satisfying punchline. Then I got Rudy, singular. In filming it, I didn't exactly make it look the most appetizing, but it was a crispy chicken sandwich, so it was delicious. However, my dining area of choice was perhaps not the best spot, as there was this bee that kept wanting a bite of my sandwich, and I had to pace back and forth just to keep it at bay. But overall, it was a good sandwich. Go eat at Rudy. On my way to my second film, which is Dandelion's Odyssey. I can't help but admire and praise the unique way with which this film tells its story of dandelions having an odyssey across an alien planet in search of fertile ground to plant themselves and blossom. It's a 1 hour and 17-minute dialogueless film that uses ultra-macro time-lapse shots of plants growing and bugs bugging around in a collage style to portray the alien world that the dandelions are stirred up in. And all of that being said, I nearly fell asleep in this one. I can admire it more in retrospect, but at the time, boy, was I jet-lagged and sleepy. Plus, the pace didn't help very much. It felt like every 10 minutes or so, we found a new checkpoint that proved futile, and while there were enough character beats sprinkled throughout, I just wasn't suited to watch this one. Wind. I just wanted to know what that would sound like. So coming out of Dandelion's Odyssey, I'm not gonna lie, I was kind of struggling a little bit. The prospect of having one more movie and having it be 2 hours and really wanting to go to sleep was not fun. But thankfully, the cost of heaven was brilliant. I loved this film. I originally booked this because of the banger title. I mean, The Cost of Heaven. That's straight up bars. Turns out, banger movie as well. This is a film about the father of a well-off family who becomes dissatisfied with his financial situation and becomes obsessed with constantly wagering his savings and family life in the hopes of winning big in wealth and status. This is like if the guy from Uncut Gems was actually likable. Uncut Gems was said at the Q&A to be an inspiration for the film, and even though it's more laid back than the chaotic pacing of that movie, there is still such tension whenever a new opportunity presents itself. Just watching his phone ring filled me with dread, wondering how much deeper he's sunk himself and his family into inevitable debt. A detail that I liked that someone at the Q&A pointed out to me that I didn't even really notice on first watch, other characters in the film, specifically at the school board, speak mostly in English. Meanwhile, Nasir is mainly French speaking. And there's this great sort of uneven dynamic where no matter what, Nasir is always feeling left out. It's a really good movie. It was really fun. It was the highlight of the day. This was the first movie that I really loved. It was good. It was great. Great movie. Great movie. Great movie. And with that, my first of 5 days at TIFF are done, and I can rest and finally get back some of that sleep that I lost. And it's gonna be great. We'll see you tomorrow. Oh, what do you mean I gotta wake up? What do you mean? Well, better put on my boots of swiftness. Hey guys, this segment of the video is brought to you by water. Give it a try, see what happens. Alright, back to the video. Alright, and my first movie of day 2 is No Other Choice from Park Chan-wook. Yeah. So I was lucky enough to grab a last-minute ticket for this the night before after hearing a lot of buzz about it. You know, I've only seen Oldboy before this, but I'm sure it's definitely worth checking out more of his films because this was excellent. It actually shares a bit of DNA with The Cost of Heaven. It's about the patriarch of a wealthy family who gets laid off by his company once it was bought out by Americans, and upon the threat of losing his possessions and the house his family built, he goes on a mission to find the most worthy people to take his position and plots to kill them. Each portrait we get offers wonderful commentaries on just how similar these other professional candidates are in their lives to our main character. You have unemployed malaise and dissatisfaction, and the whole film doubles as a thriller and a commentary on the throes of late-stage capitalism that threatens the workforce. It was really funny, had great transitions, and the ending was brilliant. And then I went to Gabby's, plural. And look at this amazing dish. Isn't it just so beautiful? Oh, there it goes. And then I watched a movie called Fuck My Son. Okay, look, half of my ticket price was solely for the novelty of seeing a movie called Fuck My Son at 4 p.m. on a Wednesday. Beyond that, Now, while I didn't read much of the TIFF description, I knew going in that this movie was gonna be a little bit crass. But when everybody in our theater was handed these prismatic viewing glasses with Pervo Vision and Nude Block written on either side, well, by golly, I was almost dang old scared about what we were gonna see. And what I got was a movie about an elderly mother who kidnaps a woman and her daughter and forces the woman to have a premarital affair with her horribly deformed mutant son. This movie is gross, pure and simple. It is profane and disgusting, and while I knew that was going to be the case going in, I didn't really expect to dislike it. It's purely a shock movie, and because of that, it doesn't really have many other strengths to rely on. It was delightfully gross at times, and funny as well, but I found myself becoming numb and uninterested as the movie hurtled itself further into its own depravity. Though the stakes continued to escalate to the point where all hell breaks loose in quite the climactic display, the absurd heights that this film reaches feels more like discordant fan fiction of its own material. The progression later on in the movie felt like what is the funniest random thing that could happen right now, and while they are crazy and sometimes funny, its increasingly bizarre escalations completely detached me from any investment. Despite however gross or shocking, I was always finished with moments like those far sooner than the movie was. For me, the jokes ended up running out of steam, but remained fueled on its own fumes, if you'll excuse my messy metaphor. So those are my most coherent critiques, but there is another issue that audiences had with this film that made it quite controversial at the festival. Its prominent use of AI. Yes, this film has AI, and while there are a lot of negative societal impacts of it, I am only going to be talking about its creative use in this case. Yeah, there's a good amount of it in here. The entire opening titles were AI that were made to be intentionally gross with all of this meat squishing and gore explosions.
but they were also just really hard to read. All of the AI mess just kind of made every title illegible. There are these fictional Christian cartoon characters called the Meaty Mates that follow the daughter around. They were also AI, but they were based on original drawings from one of the crew members. And there are also other images that flash on screen and are sprinkled throughout. Sorry, I thought I saw a bug. It was not a bug, it was a bird. Pretty big bug. And that was enough to get this movie blasted on Letterboxd. Personally, AI imagery in its current state just gives me this visceral unease in my stomach, which fittingly makes it work. I was disappointed when I initially saw the AI in this movie, especially how much of it is in here, but I find it hard to fault its creative purpose, as it's in a gross movie with hyperbolic perverts and a meth-fueled raging sex machine. Thankfully, though, there are sincerely a lot of really cool creature and practical effect designs in this movie that it's not like the whole production team is rendered obsolete by the usage of it in this movie. It's more used how I think it should be, as a tool. At the end of the day, this movie does succeed in its mission to shock audiences with its depravity, and while I can tolerate that, its humor and crassness didn't land on my frequency most of the time. I can't hate it because it's a gross movie. Because it's a gross movie. You can't really hate on provocative art for trying to provoke you in any particular way. That's kind of a bad criticism. I wish I enjoyed it more, because it sounds like for more of the Midnight Madness audiences, it was an absolute riot. It's definitely a wild movie that when you see it, if you see it, it's gonna blow your mind, and it's gonna be really gross and disgusting and insane and maybe even really funny. I don't know, I feel like I'm forgetting something. It was gross, disgusting. Its humor was funny, but it also is a 90-minute joke that, as comedically heightened as everything is, that's still the core of the movie. That's still the instigating plot, and that's still where it finds itself towards the end of the movie as well, even after the central conflict is wrapped up. I guess I just don't laugh that much to people getting... I guess I just don't laugh at that. You know? I don't know. Am I weird? Maybe I'm the weird one.
So, after that experience, I had a bit of time before my next movie, and coincidentally, it was my first year anniversary with my partner. I went to the Harmony Cafe and had a little pizza and a lavender lemonade to treat myself. We chatted over FaceTime, and it was lovely. The pizza was a little, you know, the cheese was a bit, like, not cooked. I don't know, it wasn't the best pizza, but the lavender lemonade was nice. And then afterwards, I went to, what is it, Dolce ice creamery gelato, what's it called? And I had an Oreo gelato cone, and trust me, not only was it aesthetically pleasing, but it was aesthetically tasty too. And the last movie that I saw that day was Junk World. Junk World was really cool. It was the only true Midnight Madness event that I got to experience for this trip, and it made every laugh and action set piece feel fun and impactful. The plot of the movie is about so mankind made these AI bots to mine. When humans got to stay on the surface, but they became sentient robot beings and started fighting against the government. But then there was this 150 years wars and collaborated, but they made Junk World. The film uses a mix of stop motion and puppeteering to bring its world to life. And not only did it accentuate the creepy and cute creature designs, but I also had a particular appreciation for the fight choreography. I'm never easily won over by action scenes, but since stop motion is inherently choreographed, every movement felt appropriately important and intentional. One of my favorite parts of the movie was during the credits, where we were treated to a small behind-the-scenes featurette that showcased a lot of the production. I love that stuff. You know, it was a great movie and a great time. And then I went home to sleep for good. Day 3 day, less sleep, more movie. Oh, geez, do all coffee shop signs look like that? I think I'm losing my mind a little bit. And my first movie of the day, gee, gosh, bollockers, look at that big screen. I'm really losing it with this no sleep thing. Was Good Boy, No, this wasn't the dog horror movie. Although they do kind of treat him like a dog in this movie, so half marks, I guess. And this was a fun time. You know, I love a good boy in the basement movie. I just love when my boys get trapped down there. Stephen Graham was fun to watch, and it was quite humorous and lovely to see the trapped teenager slowly warm up to his captives. It was a good little time. And my final film of the day was Frankenstein, which was very good as well. Oscar Isaac's performance as Victor Frankenstein really carried me through the first half of the film. As his manic energy was so infectious, I couldn't help but share in his electric enthusiasm. Similarly, Jacob Elordi's portrayal of the creature carried me through the second half. His physicality truly starred his performance, with childlike wonder and fits of angry destruction. The sets were quite gorgeous and a joy to be immersed in. The entire film is shot with these wide-angle lenses that enforce this grandiosity into every scene, even if it's just two people talking. I may not be the most interested in the Frankenstein tale, but this movie was still a really fun ride. Okay, now's the chance to sleep again, but I don't know how I'm gonna sleep because of what I'm seeing tomorrow. It's Nirvana the Band Day. 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 It's the day for Nirvana the Band.
We did it. It's Nirvana the Band Day. We're here. It's happening right now. This was the first ticket I booked for TIFF. It was my most anticipated movie of the festival. It was Nirvana, the band, the show, the movie. Move over, Hollow Knight fans, this is my Silk Song. Firstly, some homework. Nirvana the band The Show is about two guys from Toronto who are trying to get a show at the Rivoli, and that's all you need to know. It's a show that feels like it was tailor-made for me. A heavily referential show that manages to weave its pop culture lexicon into the plots of each episode, all the while utilizing real people on the street to get the reaction and contrast the absolutely bonkers stunts these guys pull. These episodes are like magic tricks, with so many stunts that leave the viewer questioning how the heck they frickin' did it and if any of it is legal, while still delivering a fun and investing story. First, it was a web show, then a TV series on Vice, which left on a hell of a cliffhanger, by the way. And when the network Viceland shut down because of a documentary I haven't watched, our Nirvana the Band The Show content plummeted to 0. So fans have been waiting 8 years for the next big installment, and here we are at the glorious end of that road. This was hecking euphoric. The synopsis simply reads that the boys accidentally time travel back to the year 2008 and must hatch a plan to go back to the future. See, here we go again. And without spoiling much, this was one of the funniest movies I think I've ever seen. Bias be damned. It was such a thrill to see that the boys haven't lost any of their wit, chemistry, or dynamic in all the years since. They are just as sharp as ever. There are moments in here that feel grand, befitting of a feature-length adventure, and stunts that will still leave most people questioning how they even pulled them off. I loved this film wholeheartedly. It brought some of the most magical joy a theater experience can give, and I cannot wait to see it again. A million stars. And if you even see this, I probably have seen it again. It's tough to follow up that masterpiece, but I did enjoy my time with the second film of the day, Miroirs No. 3. Miroir. It is about a woman who gets into a car accident, her boyfriend dies, and so she seeks refuge with the strange woman who finds them. This movie is a bit of a slow burn, but nevertheless there is always this unspoken tension where at any moment someone just needs to say what they're thinking but never do. It frames this odd slice of life movie with never-ending unease for how almost idyllic the setup seems to be. It was an interesting movie from an apparently prolific director, so I might be interested in checking out some of his other stuff. Well, I gotta take a quick wee before my next show, and oh, this place looks nice. Surely there'll be a bath room.
Oh, god dang it, it's another back room, son of a gun. Oh, and look at that, even the bathrooms don't work. Truly no solace in the back rooms. Oh, well, there is a ladies' room that I could... Nah, better not. Oh no, is this the last victim claimed by this liminal hell? Or are you the keeper of its secrets? Have I bit your cheese and caught my head in your confounding tomb? Well, I'm not sticking around to find out. Hey, do you want to hear the loudest fire truck I've ever heard? Jeez. And then the last movie I saw, major movie alert, big movie alert, was Wake Up Dead Man. This was another really fun Benoit Blanc mystery. I enjoyed the more gothic setting this time around, and also admired the new stylistic choices made with some of the visuals. I actually wasn't completely invested in the film even after the murder took place. It was only until about halfway through the film where more character beats were laid out that I became enthralled with the direction of the film. It still has its comedic moments in the sun despite its moody setting, and overall, I enjoyed this one. It's another fun Knives Out mystery. I know Rian Johnson hates that they're called Knives Out mysteries. I'm sorry. You can bill me. All right, I have 1 day left, and then I can escape my sleepless hell. So there's this program at the festival called Prime Time, where they show usually just a couple episodes of a television show before it's released. And I'm not really a fan of this. I don't discriminate its relevance at the festival, but the experience only ever gives you a quarter, maybe a fifth of a story, and you either leave the theater wanting more, or feel dissatisfied, as I often do. I saw Reunion, and I didn't really enjoy it. I was interested in seeing the story of a deaf man released from prison for murder and watching him try and find redemption and perhaps revenge as well. But the story never met those hopes of intrigue for me. They tease elements of the murder throughout the episodes, alongside the main character meeting up with random people from his past to deal with business, but failed to invest me in any of it. It all felt very surface level without much tangible depth to dig through, and I felt the aspect of him being deaf wasn't utilized to the extent that it could have. I don't think it's a bad show, it just didn't hook me in. And finishing my trip to the festival was Bad Apples. A teacher's troubled relationship with one of her delinquent students reaches a climax when she accidentally kidnaps him. Trapped in her basement, the two begin to form an unlikely bond, while the world outside quickly seems to move on and even thrive in his absence. This was quite the brilliant black comedy with how the stakes of this situation escalate, with a particular turn halfway through the movie that was just genius. It was a joy to watch everything unfold, and the bitter moral darkness behind it amped up the comedy while still striking a more unnerving tone simultaneously. It was really fun and a great way to end the festival. Okay, I can't try and sleep anymore. I'm out of here. I got what I wanted, but there's just too many weird things going on. I can't stay much longer. And those are my thoughts of what I saw at TIFF's 50th anniversary, or as the pre-ads kept forcing, TIFFty. It was funny how annoying that ad was, but also people just say TIFFty now, so it worked. I really wanted to make a video like this last year for all the movies that I saw, but I just never got around to it, so this is kind of an honorary way of carrying that on. TIFF for me is always a really fun grab bag, you know? Like, I miss out a lot on the tickets that I could see of the big movies that everyone's talking about, but I always find the lesser known movies to be a lot more interesting. But I hope you enjoyed it. Just a nice little video about what I saw. Thank you very much for watching. I know this wasn't as professionally produced as what I usually make, but I really just wanted to make a nice and easy, simple video. Even though I'm recording outside and there are so many goddamn crows and bugs and chirps and chitters, I had fun. Hope you did too. All right. Love you. Bye.